That's a very uh, uh, broad question, right? Good depends on the business, right? Are we just making are we just making caps for toothpaste bottles? And we're not there's not a whole lot of processes moving around, and risk is very low if we're down for a couple hours, or is risk super high? And if we're down for a couple hours, we're losing a lot of money. So when it comes to good OT security, it's really dependent upon what we find during our discovery phase, and ultimately, which leads us into the design. Because we might have to go into your environment to segment multiple processes and deploy multiple switches, and also wireless. So we have to do a wireless design, and also deploy, FortiClient for our vulnerability detection and patching on those capable devices. Are we also deploying FortiDeceptor as a honey net to mitigate that risk even further? So we're saying, like, yes, we are designing the network out perfectly, but in the event someone comes in, want to isolate them, trap them within this honey net through FortiDeceptor. Right. It really depends on how important uptime is and your risk tolerance, right? What we talked about previously. So when it comes to good OT security, I would say at very foundation, you at least need the FortiGate with a UTP subscription bundle, and with the OT license. From there, you also need Fortis switches for your uplinks, uh, and then either Fortis SIM for your log and analytics management. It's kind of acts like a syslog server, or FortiAnalyzer, which is more of the Fortinet specific analytic and logging tool. I think at a very bare minimum, it's the FortiGates, FortiSwitches, 40 APs if you have the need for ruggedized wireless in your industrial controls and automation, and then some type of logging. So either it be FortiSIM or FortiAnalyzer.
Yeah, that's good answers to those questions. Another follow-up, I would say, probably a really good place to start. And the first place I would start, particularly for a mid-sized manufacturer, would be to get an assessment, a cyber assessment. And this will do two things. It'll inform the amount of risk that you're exposed to, and it'll also break down the fundamental components that you can add to your environment that will help reduce that risk. So, Trent mentioned a few of those solutions. A good firewall is an awesome place to start. And then from there, you can, do other things like segmentation before you tackle the more complex issues like threat detection and whatnot. But if you haven't done a cyber assessment in your environment, I highly recommend that you do one, just so you know what your risks are, what you're exposed to, and then also to give you some direction and a roadmap as to what to do in order to become more mature from a cybersecurity standpoint.
All right. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, that's a great point. Starting with that cyber risk assessment to understand what your infrastructure currently looks like, and the risk and vulnerabilities associated with them, and the acceptable amount of risk and vulnerabilities. So yeah, that's a great starting point. Thank you, Steve.